Yo, what's going on, guys? Chili Games back again. It is so good to be bringing you guys another video. And this video is different. This is an update video. And man, I just got the patch notes. They sent them out to the CCs, so I'm recording this a couple days early in an attempt to get a little bit ahead. And I've got to say, this next update looks to be like the most exciting update that I have seen in World of Warships. I'm happy, dude. This this update is going to be absolutely crazy. I can't believe it, honestly. There's a lot of things that are going to make a lot of people happy. Obviously, overall, I think it's a huge win for the community in terms of like what we're getting. Obviously, I'll get into the things that I don't like, but you know, let's just get into it. So, man, there's a lot. So this is going to be like a 2 video, probably about 30 minutes-ish. So if, you know, you don't want to watch the whole video, I'm going to link the patch notes down below in the video description if you want to read it for yourself. I really encourage you to do that. But if you want to stick with me and watch these gameplays while I go through it, let's get into it. So, oh man, the update. Might of Japan. There's a lot. So, let's see here. There's 2 campaigns that are going to start. The first 4 weeks dedicated to the Azuma, a large Japanese cruiser. Main strengths are the guns, 3x3 arrangement for 310mm artillery, so that's bigger than the Alaska and the Odin. Has a lot of HP, 27mm armor. It looks like all around, so you can bounce some shells. Short cooldown. Let's see. It's going to be a tier 7 campaign ship. So I think the Azuma is a tier 9 on PC, so it's going to be a tier 7 on here. It's not going to be a legendary ship. Let's see here. 2,500 doubloons, pretty standard. Nothing too crazy there. So we're going to be looking forward to that in the first 4 weeks of this update. So that's interesting. We get another campaign. I always think the campaigns are worth it and stuff like that. With the Admiralty backing, obviously I'm not going to go over all the things you can get, but the things that I count as the most: you get 25 promotion orders, 3 insignias, 2 commendations, 3 big crates, 2 Black Friday crates, that's big, and you get 750 doubloons back if you complete the campaign. So essentially this is looking around like a $6 investment if you grind the whole campaign, because you get the doubloons back. And then obviously you get the tier 7 cruiser Azuma. I honestly have no idea how it's going to play in this thing. You can watch some PC videos on how it plays. I know Flamu has one on the Azuma, but obviously things are different. Things can be a little bit different in Legends for sure, so don't completely base your opinions on it. I'm excited, you know, cruiser. I'm a cruiser guy, so. Alright. Moving on to next. Oh man, so this is a big one. This is a big one, guys. So it is going to be, this is going to be complementing. It's a really short campaign. I don't know if you guys did like the Grimiashi campaigns or whatever. This is basically just for a commander, and this is going to be opening up into the new line that we're getting, or the additional line, the IJN gunboat destroyers. We are finally getting IJN gunboat destroyers. I know it doesn't sound like I'm too excited, but I am over the moon. I think this is amazing. This is exactly what we were. I feel like a lot of people wanted this for a long time, so I am extremely happy about this. So the campaign is going to lead into this. Is you're going to get basically just at the end the commander Reizo Tanaka, and the reason for this is, I think they said Kurita gives you artillery options, but most new players haven't tried the Japanese destroyers, so they're just going to give you the base guy. So it's a little short campaign, nothing too much. I'm probably going to invest in it. You can look at it yourself, but nothing much there. Okay, getting into the IJN gunboat short. So we have the Shimakaze, Haretsuyu, Shiratsuyu, and the Akazuki from tiers 4 to 7. Oh man, that's exciting, dude. That is so exciting. The biggest thing that I'm worried about, obviously, that I think a lot of people are worried about, is the caliber of guns. So how are you going to be doing damage to well-armed targets like battleships and whatnot? Well, let's see here. I lost my place. Before we get into that, there is no early access for these. I think they're just going to be bumping them straight into their into the game here. And also, what I was mentioning, to support the new line, we're also adding a new skill that will allow you to switch play styles for the destroyers. The Evil Sparks skill improves HE penetration but reduces alpha damage, so you can choose a different approach. So this, I feel like, is going to be somewhat kind of like EOP for... I don't know if this is actually only for IJN destroyers. So it says also adding a new skill that will allow you to switch play styles on the destroyer. So we know that the IJN gunboats are getting these, but I don't know if this is going to be actually added into other destroyers as well. Essentially, destroyer EOP, and yeah, that's very exciting. If we just got that, I would be over the moon. But there is so much more to this. Like, holy crap, there's so much more to this. So, running it up next, we have the rank season 8, and it is going to be tier 4. I'm not the biggest fan. I didn't complete the tier 4 ranked way earlier. Like it was quite a while ago actually. But obviously, this is going to be well, they said it's going to be a longer one here. So I think there is something like 16 levels, something like that. So they said the rewards are going to be a little bit different. Let me try and find the rewards here. Let's see, some Black Friday crates. We'll see what it's like. Probably going to be able to do it, I think. But yeah, new rank season, nothing too much there. We'll get to see it more when it comes. And the setup is pretty much the same. Now there's nothing really changed in the rules there. Coming up next, and this is kind of the thing that I'm not really too excited about, but you know, it is something. We are getting new bureau projects. I think everyone has already seen they've already teased them, and they've already released what new ships are coming. So it's going to be the Shimakaze, the IJN Torpedo God, and the Khabarovsk, which is basically an uber buffed Tashkent. So those are going to be your two new legendary projects. Here's what I really want to look at though. The Shimakaze, and they gave us the stats here, which is really nice. It's going to have 17.9 hit points. 17,000. Don't. And let's see, 3x2 main battery, firing range 10 kilometers. Pretty standard for something like an IJN torpedo boat. Nothing too crazy. But here's the biggest thing that I'm worried about. So, torpedo tubes, and this, I think this is the stock mod that you get on them. 3x5, so 15 torpedoes, for a max damage of 21,000 damage, but they only have 8 kilometer range, and they will be able to, they're 76 knots, but you can bump that up to 80, and the reload time is 131 seconds, so that's right around it's over 2 minutes, but you'll be able to get that down. So you're looking at slightly faster, I believe, Fletcher torpedoes in terms of reload. And yeah, so that's not terrible. It's going to be another screamer. But the other thing is the alternate torpedo module. So I think it's going to be another 5th slot, like you see on the Adachi, or not the Adachi. Oh yeah, the Adachi. So this is the alternate mod. You get 3x5 again, so 15 torpedoes, maximum damage of 23,000, almost 24,000. Range is 11 kilometers, and speed is 67 knots. So 71 knot torpedoes if you add the +4 knot skill on there. Reload time is 153 seconds. That's a pretty lengthy reload, and I kind of like that because you are spitting out 15 torpedoes at once. So you obviously will be able to get that down due to the skills. But I mean, to be honest, I was thinking it was going to be a lot worse. The reloads on the torpedoes seem pretty lengthy, so I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. It's definitely not as it's not as bad as I was thinking it's going to be. So we're okay with that. We're okay with that. But again, the whole thing is, I really don't think that we needed another torpedo boat into the mix. Adachi is already really strong, legendary tier. But however, you know, it's not. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world with this iteration. 6.7 km detection. I can't really do the math right now, but it seems pretty standard. So you're probably going to get this under 5 km detection, which is pretty broken. Damage control party, smoke generator, and engine boost are going to be the consumables. And that's pretty much the Shimakaze. Definitely look at that for yourself. Next up, we have the Kurfurst, which has 22,500 hit points. And it does have the 50mm plating, which I believe on the PC version, this allows for some battleships to actually get full pins on you, which can mean like 3,000 damage, 4,000 damage from like battleship AP, a shell. So that'll be interesting. We'll see how it plays out in game. 4x2 130mm guns. Firing range is 12.3. So pretty decent on the stock firing range. I think that's going to be easily over 13.5, maybe squeaking into 14 kilometers with certain commanders. 8% chance of fire, reload time 5 seconds, torpedo tubes. Now this is a big thing. I believe that the Kurfurst had 10 kilometer torpedoes at once on the PC version, and then they were nerfed down to 6 kilometers. We are getting the 6 kilometer Kurfurst here. The torpedo speed is 58 knots, reload time of 100 seconds. So, you know, pretty standard I feel like for torpedo reloads. And then, whoa, torpedo detectability is 0.6 kilometers. Wow, these are very stealthy, but they're obviously very short range. So, I mean, 6 kilometers you can still do a solid bit with, and you have 10 of them. So, just think of a like uber buffed Mayhem. If you have to use torpedoes and play a little sneaky, you will have that option. Let's see here. Max speed is 43 knots, so pretty damn fast. And then surface detectability 7.7. Really kind of just like a Tashkent, honestly. And ooh, all right. This is what I was thinking as well. So damage control party, a smoke generator, and an engine boost. But for the smoke generator, you can swap out for a repair party. So I think what most people are going to be running is this Kurfurst being a full gunboat build, something crazy, having a repair party. This should be interesting. If it can get armed, if battleship AP can be armed through it and get full pins, then this thing is absolutely going to need some sort of heal. So we are getting a heal. And then moving on to the Black Friday. Obviously, if you were trying to invest in some ships, hold out. They did a lot of stuff for Black Friday. You're going to be refreshing the Black Fleet. Includes the Mutsu, Indianapolis, Bliskovica, and the Atago. Ooh, a Black Atago. That sounds actually pretty nice. That is going to look insane. And the Bliskovica is actually a ship that I have wanted for a while. Atago is a low chance drop from the new black containers. Okay, so Atago is going to be the black Atago is going to be pretty rare, and then you can earn other things in the crates, but pretty much it. I think there's probably going to be tons of deals in the store as well. And finally, we are getting into probably my favorite section. Well, the IGN destroyers. Gunboat destroyers, and then here we go, ladies and gentlemen, secondary armament improvements. We are finally getting the secondary buff that I feel like everyone has been wanting for since the German battleships came out, to be honest. Once everyone got the Bismarck, I was like, wow, this is, you know, a lot of fireworks but not a lot of things being done here. This is absolutely massive, and they say you're going to have to be able to spec out pretty heavily to get like tons of benefits, but that's okay. A buff is a buff. We are going to absolutely take it. So first off, every battleship in the game receives 2 charges for the enhanced secondary targeting consumable. The consumable either replaces something like planes or is added to the arsenal, in some cases Vanguard. So I feel like if you don't have a plane, maybe you just get it. So Vanguard's going to get another consumable, which is kind of crazy. And works like this. Secondary armament becomes significantly more precise for 30 seconds and has a 3-minute cooldown. So if you're being bum rushed, pop this and hopefully it's going to melt things, especially destroyers. Every brawling battleship commander receives properly meticulous. It's a new skill. Reduces reload time of your secondaries by 5 or 15% depending on the level. And it prolongs the duration of the enhanced secondary training consumable by 10% to 35%. So what is that? 30%? Maybe you're looking like a 40-second consumable charge on that secondary thing. So actually pretty good if you want to spec into that for brawling. The porcupine skill, which we already have, is actually getting a buff as well. It's going to be the first spot for the shell grouping is going to be able to buff up to 15%, and the maximum dispersion radius will go up to 18%. So a little buff on the porcupine skill. So again, we're going to take it. And let's see. The fourth thing for the secondary update, the elbow room base trait for Franz von Hipper, used as the main inspirations for secondary build, has received additional improvements. The shell grouping of secondary armaments improves by 0.25% per rank up to 5%. So we're getting his, in terms of the range on the secondaries, you're going to get a dispersion buff as well. So that's another pretty decent buff, honestly, to his inspiration. So it's going to be able to be a little bit better. And as we're only gathering limited use of data from super tests, it is important that you provide feedback. So this might actually be pretty dang strong. So we're gonna have to see how it actually plays out. You know, obviously there is a chance that it could be overpowered and it needs to be toned down, but it just depends on how it goes and how feedback goes. All right, additional balance changes, and these are pretty big as well. Honestly, these are some of my favorites. There's so much good. There's so much good in this update. All right, we're gonna tune legendary tier just a tad. So grosser Kurfurst secondary battery range has been increased from 5 to 7 kilometers. That is absolutely massive. The biggest thing for the grosser Kurfurst is it's good, but it's good for all the wrong reasons. I mean, on PC it's a secondary monster, and the main guns are kind of like an afterthought. They're still really good, but on Legends, the main batteries completely overshadow the 5 kilometer secondary. So the secondaries on the Kurfurst are kind of useless in terms of speccing into them. So 7 kilometers, and remember all the buffs are percent based, so you should be able to bring the Kurfurst secondary range into easily over 9 and probably up to around 10 or so, maybe 10 and a half if it's super buffed or something like that. And that's huge in my opinion, honestly. Like, finally we get a Kurfurst that we can actually spec into secondaries in combination with the secondary buffs, and also that new consumable that will increase the secondary. So the Kurfurst might become an absolute monster. It's going to retain the really, really good guns, but now the secondaries actually have some sort of life into them. So this is exciting. And one more thing for the legendary tier, Alaska's survivability looks to be a little down, so she has received a small boost for her repair party. 20% of the Citadel can be repaired now instead of 10%, so pretty decent for sure. And I think the biggest one here is the number of charges for the heal consumable is, right now it's at 2. It's going to be bumped up to 3. So that's actually pretty interesting. I've been fooling around with basically going Alaska with refill station, getting the reload down to like 15.5, which is a lot of fun, but you do lose the extra heal. So running around with 2 heals stock on the Alaska can be quite iffy. But now, in my opinion, I'm going to be running refill station. I'm going to lose the radar for sure, but I mean, you get 3 heals now, so your survivability is going to be, in my opinion, much better and a lot more consistent. So that is really good. And the damage control party has its cooldown reduced from 60 to 55 seconds, so a little bit quicker on the consumable reload for the heal there as well. That's pretty much it for the massive things. Again, I'm very excited for this. I think this is going to add a lot of these buffs are, in my opinion, in all of the right areas. So I think that it's going to improve play, especially for battleships, a lot, which I think has been needed for a while. And let's see, going into the next things. Next gen release. That's just talking about next gen. Announcements about Legend on the PS5 will follow soon, so nothing too much there. You guys can read into that. Some miscellaneous challenges, or changes, I mean. Just a couple things here and there. The Rust and Rumble credits will be turned into, or each Rust and Rumble thing will be turned into 7,500 credits. So basically like every other thing. And some bug fixes. A couple there. I'm not going to read into all of those. There's like 10 of them. But guys, this update, just in total, think about it. IJN destroyers, gunboat destroyers, which are going to be, I feel like, a absolute ton of fun. And then obviously we get the Shimakaze, which I'm not too excited about, but the Khabarovsk as well. Not the 2 best, in my opinion, that they could have added to legendary tier right now. But you know, looking at the stats, I don't think Shimakaze is going to be too good. We'll see. But, and then we have the secondary changes, which in my opinion is probably one of the best quality of life that they could do in terms of an update. So that is absolutely massive in my opinion. And then the Kurfurst secondary range, which is absolutely epic, and then also the Alaska getting the extra heal. There's a lot here. And then also the rank season 8. Rank to me really isn't anything super duper special in my opinion. But it is there. It is an option for those who like to do it, and there are some rewards as well. Black Friday crate at the end, so if you want to get that. So in my opinion, this is the best update that we have ever seen for Legends. I'm over the moon about 90% of it. So when is this going to be released? Server maintenance will take place on November 9th, after which the update will be pushed to console. So November 9th, when is that? That is Monday. That's Monday, isn't it? That is Monday. Wow, that is next Monday. So this is coming quick. This is coming very quick. It is next week. I didn't know if we were going to jump straight into an update or not. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this. This is obviously kind of my overview, but / opinions on this. And looking at this game, I played the Iowa today actually, and this game kind of just came out of nowhere. Look, dodge the Vanguard there. I don't know how this Roma doesn't absolutely blow me out of the water here, but the back turret's going to come online for the kill shot on the Vanguard, who just beached himself. Finish him off with the Citadel. The guns are turned around perfectly for the Roma. This was so satisfying. That's a big oof. That, I don't care who you are, that is a big oof play. This was a lot of fun, honestly. Just sheer American power. Unfortunately, that New Orleans got wiped right there. I would have liked to have that kill. But yeah, the video is over for in terms of the update stuff. If you want to stick around, I'm going to kind of talk over this game as well. This is actually the first time I've played Iowa in probably a month and a half or so. I really can't bring myself to play battleships that often because there are so many things that are just directly countered against them. For you guys that still play battleships as a main, that is a very difficult role to play right now, and it has been for a while. So I commend you. It's definitely, definitely a lot of things against them, But the secondary update should be absolutely huge. I think for every battleship and every class and every play style of battleship, they're just getting a really, 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 really much needed buff. I mean, look at this. Like, the Iowa has the equivalent of like literally, what is that? Like 4 Mayhans for secondaries. It has like 10 on each side, or 5 times 2 on each side. Like, that is so much firepower, but you know, they're never usable because the accuracy is so bad. So this, I'm excited. I'm excited to actually get back into battleships again, especially with things like Bismarck with the secondary update and Kurfurst as well. Kurfurst, I think, honestly, with this secondary buff, Kurfurst is already really, really strong in terms of its main battery. So giving it really good secondaries now is going to be kind of scary. And I initially asked about this because I feel like a lot of, especially in the CC Discord, where we get to talk to the or message the devs or whatever about feedback, and I feel like the overall consensus was like, why does GK only get 5 km secondaries? Like, what? Like, what is this? Like, this isn't the GK that anyone wanted, you know? So they listened. It's getting 7 kilometers, so that is honestly perfectly fine. In my opinion, though, GK might become a little bit. I don't want to say too strong, but they might need to look at it, and it really just depends on how well these secondaries perform. Honestly, that's going to be the biggest thing. So it's not the end of the world if it's too strong. Obviously, they'll be keen to knock it down a little bit if it's too much. But yeah, I'm excited. I feel like a lot of us, and myself included, have just been feeling kind of, I don't know, kind of left out to dry, really. It's been a kind of a difficult, past 2 months in terms of content. We've had the legendary tier, which has been kind of, it's, the matchmaking is pretty difficult, and it can be rough at times and not fun to play. And then obviously we had the Italian cruisers, which are just very disappointing because they didn't come out with SAP, and I understand why they didn't. Obviously, it's not a copy paste or whatever, but still, it's an unfinished kind of mark for me, and they just don't fit the bill in terms of competitiveness. So we had that, and then the Abruzzi comes out. It is terrible, and then we have the Charlemagne, not the Charlemagne, the Cheshire, which is, in my opinion, probably like the worst investment of money for a premium ship in terms of like competitiveness. And yeah, there's just been a lot of things that are like, oof, like, come on, like, we need something. But this is absolutely massive. I think this can really, really turn this game around. I hope it will excite a lot of people. I'm very excited, and that's really going to end this game. That was a quite eventful Iowa game as well. But guys, I will see y'all next time, and I appreciate you guys so much for just sticking with me here and letting me have my time, especially for school like that. But other than that, guys, I will see y'all in the next one. I'm very excited. Y'all take it easy. Peace.